everybody, welcome to A Cup of Tea and a Laugh. Today we're going to be talking about ghouls, spirits, or as my dad would call, the draft because there's a window open somewhere.
They're ready. You've been warned. It's my mom and my grandma. Good luck.
I'm sorry, my mind just went back to why he said that.
He doesn't believe in them. So a ghost could be standing, or a spirit, whatever you want to call it, would be standing in front of him, would be like, I'm a ghost, hello, this. My dad'd be like, well, there's an optical illusion bouncing off a wall somewhere, and there must be a draft within the crack somewhere that is creating this. Well, I have hightailed and left his ass somewhere in a hallway, and I am out.
and he will kind of agree there might be energies, but he won't validate that as ghost. The definitely word ghost is out. He's not going to go there.
Not going there.
Spirits, possibly. Why we say this. There was an episode, we lived in England. We lived in an older house. It wasn't very real old because in England, older houses are 500-600 years old.
Yeah, they're not like here.
Yeah. In the States, if it's 100 years old, it's considered very old. In England, not so much. But we lived on base in a house. There was a two-story. We were sitting down eating dinner, four of us, and we heard footsteps going from Amber's room down the hallway.
And we're not talking like creak, creak. We're talking footsteps. Like there is somebody who's broken into our house and it is above us and they're walking.
So we say something about it. My husband's answer is, it's the dogs. I point out the dogs are down by our feet. Can't be the dogs. So his next explanation is we have a attic.
Yeah.
So there's a door. The wind is lifting that door up and down.
Like not the door, but it's like I can't even think of it either.
Yeah.
You lift it up to get into your attic and sometimes the stairs come down from that. Yeah, the wind is somehow lifting it up and that's what we're hearing. But it's not that sound. It is clearly footsteps. Like a male's footstep. You know how you can tell the difference between a male and female walking? It is male footsteps. Yep. Doesn't believe it. So that's where that's why we all say, like, my dad thinks it's the wind anytime it's something like that.
We had my niece came to live with us, and the way that she moved into my younger daughter's bedroom, Amber kept hers. She was the oldest. My niece was older than hers, but Amber had her room. And I moved my office, my youngest took that. I moved into, basically it was a long hall, a long closet. I moved into there. I know one day I was working. We'd never mentioned this ghost to my niece. And I'm working in there, and my niece comes down and says, Aunt Bonnie, I just saw a man walk down your hallway. And I said, yeah, don't worry about him. He does it all the time.
I remember one time, so my bedroom was at the end, and I had, you see them now, they're like the bunk beds for kids. The top is a bed, and underneath you can either have a desk, or mine had one of those, what are they called, like couches that fold into a bigger, like full-size bed. And anytime I moved on this bed, you'd hear the metal rattling. My mom would be like, get back to bed.
Exactly.
Like you knew when I was moving. So one night, and this is gonna show my age, my CDs, because we take really good care of them, are stacked and not in the cases on top of my boombox player that you can play one CD at a time, right? So it's stacked on the top over on my nightstand. I cannot reach it from my bed. And I'm laying there trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden, the entire stack of CDs just go, whoo, and they literally from probably like 8 feet just kind of spread across the room. And I just go, and she was in the office, which is the room next to it, and I just go, Mom! And she comes in, turns the lights on, and the CDs are just flown like in a very straight line across the room kind of thing. And there's no way like I could be messing with her and not send it flying anything.
I would have heard her boat moving in the bunk bed.
She would have heard the bunk beds moving. And I don't think I slept in my room, or I made Brandy come sleep with me. I think I made my sister come sleep with me for a couple of days after that. Then there was the house. Oh.
Well, wait a second. So her dad's answer to that was they must have been stacked uneven and they had tipped over. Mm-hmm. Now we are talking there was probably 4 feet between her dresser and where the last one of them ended.
Yeah.
And they were across.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably 5 or 6 feet, come to think of it, because I could have laid down on the floor. It was a good sized room. It really was. But no, that was just, they were tilted wrong on there and just flew across.
Yep. Then there was we were looking.
Well, we have another one in that house, actually.
We do. See,
I think it was that house. It was that? Yeah, it was. I had gone to London to visit his friends. Amber was working. My niece was working. My husband got shipped out.
Oh, yeah.
And I get a call from Brandy saying, and I said to her, do you want me to come home? She goes, no, I'm okay. Apparently, she was in the living room. We had a lab. The lab's sitting next to her, and he's growling, looking in the kitchen, and I guess the cupboards in the kitchen kept opening and closing. And I said, you sure you don't want me to come home? She goes, no, I'm cool. She just turned the cartoons up louder.
This is the difference between me and my sister. I would have moved. I would have told her my new address, who I was living with. My sister goes, just turn this up louder and pretend it's not happening. There's no way.
And I think she was like 12 at the time. She wasn't that old. But she'll even talk about it now. She'll say, yeah, the cabinets, and they didn't just slightly. My husband's answer to this is, they must not have been shut all the way, and they slowly, and she said, Dad, they opened all the way.
Fully opened and then closed. Fully opened and closed.
And the dog's looking there and growling at the same time.
Yep. Nope. Then there was the homes. There was this one house. I'll never forget it. We were looking for a house to rent. Was it Whiz Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think old Victorian house.
Old Victorian, gorgeous. I mean, big iron gates to get even in the front. We're talking like you go in, there's grand staircase going up.
Gorgeous.
Huge. Our family would never be able to afford this home, but for some reason it was in our price range to rent. Well, I can tell you why.
We'd never have enough furniture to fill the rooms up, for one thing.
No, we would have been searching. Hide and go seek would have been amazing in that house. We would have been searching for each other for days.
But I've always wanted to live in a Victorian house. This was my dream.
I did until that day. So you walk into this house. Where was the room at? Was it right under the grand staircase? I just remember it was like the very beginning. Wherever it was, that's all I remember. You walk into this room, it is a massive room, and the only thing in it, in the very center of the room, is a claw bathtub. I walked in, and I felt I was gonna die. Somebody had been murdered, something had gone down, and my brain was going, get the hell out of here. And I did. I like turned around. I was like, nope, I don't want it. And like my mom's like, we're trying to look around. I'm like, nope. And I'm like going right out to the car. I'm like, not having it, not doing it. There's no way I'm living here. Send me to somebody else. Like, I'm not doing it. You did. You listened and you went, okay, if you're feeling that way. But I remember you looked so sad because it was a gorgeous house. And I was like,
I know upstairs in the room that we were going to get Brandy, she said about it, you went up and there was like a little room off from it. Now, I'm thinking probably in the day that would have been the nanny would have had this little room. But Brandy said that room freaked her out. She did not like this little room off it. It just freaked her out.
No, it had like bad feelings in that house. Like...
And it's funny because we ended up getting a house almost directly across the street, just a few doors down.
And that house is totally fine.
It was a brand new modern house and it was fine. But I'd look across the street and see that house. What bothered me was I happened to read right before that in the old days when they needed the chimney swept, they used to take like 3 and 4 year olds and they would make them go down the chimney to clean the chimneys. And often they would get stuck in there.
See, that's not
and they would die in there.
That's not I don't feel like it was like a kid thing. I think it was like really bad. Something like adult wise went, oh, no.
But that's what convinced me when I'd look at the house. I think, I wonder how many kids died in those chimneys.
Well, and then I remember so many, like that house would have an occupant for like a year and then they'd move out, not even a year. And it was constantly people moving in and moving out of that house. Like...
I know I went to look at
if anybody has a ghost channel, if that house is still standing, that's the one you need to go to.
They were at school one day and I went to look at another house because what happened is the house we were living in, the owner said we need to, we're going to sell it. And so my husband was shipped off to somewhere. I'm not sure where at that point. And so I had to go around and look at houses. So this other house I went to, the girls were at school. And I went and it was part Elizabethan, part Victorian. No, part Elizabethan, part Georgian. So it was hundreds of years old. But again, there was one room that had a bathtub in it, and that was the only thing in there. And that one freaked me out because I knew.
Also, why did they do that?
Yeah, But there was also a back staircase where the servants would come up. But we went up in the attic. There were still manacles up there from when they would lock the slaves' base. And this is in England, so they would lock the servants, slaves, whatever and the manacles were still in the wall.
What the?
Now, again, this was a dentist owned this, and it was a beautiful, we're talking the yard was huge, it was manicured, it was like this beautiful house, and even inside it looked gorgeous. But the feelings I got from that bathroom, I don't know what it is about bathrooms, and that upstairs with manacles still there, I was like, no, maybe not.
Does anybody else do this when you go to places? Do you ever get like feelings when you walk in somewhere? Like if you do, comment down below and tell us like I do believe some people are more sensitive, and whether it's really ghosts or energy left over, whatever it is, there is something. That's all I know. And I'd be really interested to see if anybody else has any stories or things that have happened to them. But yeah, constantly me and my daughter in my current house. Although I'm not scared of it. But we were sitting at the dinner table one night, and our kitchen sink, it's a handle, and you have to pull it out for the water to go on, and you turn it up for it to be cold, down for it to be hot kind of thing. But it has to be pulled this way. Her and I are eating dinner. We're just talking normally, and all of a sudden the kitchen sink just turned on like full blast, not even just a little bit. So it was pulled.
I'd be like, "Do my dishes for me, please."
And at first we have a cat, and the cat does jump up on the counter and stuff. And so I thought, oh, she must have walked this way, hit it, and like turned it on. And then I look up, and the cat's coming out of my bedroom, and I was like, oh fuck. My daughter looked right at me, and she was like, Mom, did the sink just come on? I was like, it did. And it's in those moments where you're like, I'm supposed to be the parent here and be like, everything's fine, it's good. I was like a child. I'm looking at her going, we're okay, it's fine, I'm just gonna go turn it off. And then we're both, and she like clung to my side as we both walk in there, turn the sink off, walk away. And all I kept thinking was, if there is something, or please don't jump out at me, because I need to be an adult right now and I can't. If you jump out at me, if you peer, if you do anything, like, I will bail on my child. I will go running, and I will not be a parent. And that poor kid's gonna be left in there. She's gonna be scarred for life. Like, don't do this to me. Don't test my parenting.
Go, Mom, where'd you go?
If a person broke into our house and tried to, I'd fight him, no problem. Spirits? No, I can't. Then the other time, we're again at the dinner table, and all of a sudden one of our cabinets in our kitchen just opened, and we're not talking a little, it fully opened. And my daughter was facing it, I wasn't, I had my back to it, and she goes, Mom, the cabinet just fully opened. And I turned around and I go, no, I think I left it open. And as I said it, we're both looking, it goes and closes again. And my cabinets aren't one that are like self-closing or anything. I mean, it was fully open and just closed. And then she looked at me and she goes, it's happening again. And I was like, this is fucking and I had to look at her and go, it's fine, it's okay. Like, spirits aren't mean, they're just, hey, I'm here, I'm present. But in the back of my head, I'm like, please don't be mean, please don't show yourself, please don't do anything. Like, I can't do this, I can't be an adult. Like, oh no, there's
the guy that Evelyn saw too.
Well, then her toys when she was a kid, her toys, she'd have like those toys that make a lot of noises because the grandparents buy them just to annoy you. Yeah, so those would be in the living room, and at the same time every night. It wasn't like randomly, like the toy gets knocked over or something. Same time every night. It was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. The toys would start going off in the living room. And my ex, he doesn't really believe in spirits either, but even he was like, what the hell? And he, almost both of us would have to go in together to turn off the toys. So finally he got so frustrated with it, he took the batteries out. And the weird part is we would still hear the toys. Even the batteries were out, we'd hear them. And then we go out there and they weren't going off. But it was just, yeah. And then
now is that just your mind? Because that's again,
because we're so used to it. Yeah.
And your mind is, inventing this. And this is where my husband's argument is, you're inventing these things. But there's only so many things you can invent. Yeah. Now, I will say there was a Christmas ornament.
I was just about to mention the Christmas ornament.
Which I think is hilarious.
There is this, it's stupid. I don't even know where we got it. Actually, I don't remember the origin of this. It looks like a half snow globe, and it's got a sand inside, but it plays music, and it lights up. And so this, for some reason, was my daughter's favorite ornament. I now know why. So every year, I'd be in the kitchen. She insisted I wanted to get rid of this ornament because it would just randomly go off.
Now, keep in mind, she's just about turned 10, so when did this start?
About when she's about 4.
About 4.
We got it, when she's about 4. Every year, I'd be in the kitchen doing dishes. All of a sudden, it would start playing music. And it's not motion activated. It's not one of those kind of ornaments. You have to, there's a button, like a little black button. You have to hit that button for it to play. I'd be doing something, and it would just start playing. I was convinced this ornament was possessed or something. I didn't want it anymore. My daughter was like, and every year we'd start putting ornaments on the tree, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this one's just tacky. It doesn't go with our theme anymore. We're gonna get rid of it. And she would just be like, but that's my favorite one. And then I'm a sucker, so I put it on. This year, that little fucker, excuse my language, I want to get rid of the ornament, and she finally admits to me, because she's about to be 10, that every year she has been purposely, because I'm terrified of ghosts. I'm terrified of spirits. Like, I'm so easily scared. It's not even funny. She purposely was going in there and pushing the button and then running away without me hearing her because she knew it was freaking me out. Yeah.
So you're 4 years old.
4, 5, 6. This is an ongoing theme with this child. So she admitted that she was running in there. And the only reason I think she told me is because this is the first year. It's just me and her. And she actually like felt bad for me. And she was like, Mom, it's been me doing it this whole... And she did it. And I think it's because I actually freaked out. And she was like, Mom, it's me. Like, she would run in there. And so then she tells me all these things. There's one time I ran in and you started coming this way. And I realized that I had to go this way. And I thought back and I was like, no, there's no way. Because she's been with me sometimes when this thing goes off. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, she's never with me. How did I not put that together? That my child is... Because I never thought she'd be that sneaky and conniving. At the age of 4 and 5... So it's just been an ongoing... So this year we got rid of that fucking ornament. As soon as I found that out, I was like, so let me get this straight. This is your favorite ornament because it's funny to scare Mom? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, so does it actually mean anything to you? And she was like, well, yeah, it's funny. I was like, I'm getting rid of it. And she's like, you can. I'm like, well, now I know. So it's not going to scare me anymore. And she goes, oh, okay, yeah, you can get rid of it. I was like, I'm throwing it away. Bye. I was so... But in my brain... Full on, but you're right. Your brain, your mind, and I guess Dad's right in that it can make things up because I was convinced this ornament had some spirit attached to it. And yeah, it's called the spirit of my child being non-spiritful. Like,
it's when you say about ghost. Tell you a quick story. And we mentioned before when I was dating a guy, and I'd only gone out to him once or twice, and he came from a very wealthy family. And so we'd gone to a nice place to eat down in Phoenix. I was like 17 at the time. He was 18. So I guess we shouldn't have really been dating, but then it wasn't such a big deal. We'd gone out to a nice place to eat, and then he said he wanted to go for a drive. Cool. Well, there was a place down in Phoenix, and it was a graveyard, and everybody partied out the graveyard. So he said he wanted to go out there. So we went out there. Yeah, I know, weird place to party, but everybody would party at the graveyard.
I wouldn't have been going to any parties.
To be honest, I didn't go to any of the parties. I just knew that's where they partied. So I thought there'd probably be people out there. We went out there. There's nobody there. Now, keep in mind, this is an old graveyard. There's probably only about maybe 5 tombstones there. And it's desert, sagebrush kind of thing. So he says he wants to get out of the car and go for a walk. And I'm like, no, it's like 10 o'clock at night, it's dark, I don't want to get out of the car. So he said, okay, stay in the car. So he gets out to walk.
He went without you?
Yeah, I thought, what the hell? I didn't care. He was driving a caddy, it was a nice car, it was comfy. So he gets out and says, I'm just going to go take a breath. So I thought maybe he had to go pee. You know?
Oh, that makes sense.
Maybe he's saying he's got to go for a walk, he's going to pee.
Yeah.
So he gets out, and I'm just in the car listening to the radio nonchalantly. He comes running back, jumps in the passenger side, and says, take off. I'm like, what? Why? And he goes, just take off, you got to take off. So I'll drive his car. I take off, and he said, get back to your house. We go back to the house, and he goes, can we go in your bedroom? I'm thinking, yeah, right. Now I live with my parents, so it's not a big deal. So I told my parents, I actually had 2 rooms. When my brother moved out, I took over his bedroom and made it into it had a couch and a TV and stuff. And
a hangout room? Yeah,
hangout room. So we go into the hangout room, and I looked at him, and he's got scratches down his face. So I'm like, what happened? What happened? He's got, it's not bleeding, but it's red and scratches. And he's like, there is a demon that's been after me most of my life, and he's going to come after you because you're dating me and I care about you.
Bye. Didn't really like you anyway. See you later.
That's a smart thing to do.
Please no.
I wasn't always the wisest. And I said, oh, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I need to go back and fight it. Smart thing, I say, have a good night. Call me. No, I say...
Now I'm questioning his, psychosis. I'm just saying, is he all together there?
Now's the therapist time.
Or did he go out by the trees and go... and then come back to you and go...
He says he's going to go out and fight the demon. Now, if I was smart, I would have said, I'll see you. Give me a call. Very, very... I mean, we are talking...
Did you go fight the demon?
We're talking, he's Lord. 6'2", was a quarterback in high school. This guy is a good-looking guy. He is,
so
comes from wealthy. Yeah. So, I jump back in the car with him. We go back to fight that demon. Again, he says...
What are you fighting a demon? Jesus.
He says, stay in the car. I'm going, oh, hell no, I'm getting out with you. My 5'1" nothing, 105 pounds. So we're walking around this graveyard with a flashlight. He's got a cross.
Wait, pause for a second. I just want to bring this back. At the first time, you were not willing to get out of the car because it was 10 o'clock at night in a graveyard. But now that you've confirmed that there's possibly a demon, now we're on board with it.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Didn't say I was the smartest, the wisest.
You guys made
thing.
a great couple.
So we're going around with a flashlight. We've got the cross. I've got a cross. I got a flashlight. I'm saying every prayer I know in my head, and I'm going to fight this demon. Needless to say, nothing really happened. We get back in the car.
Demon was in his head.
Yeah, we get back in the car. We go home. He drops me off. I thought about this. I dropped it the next day.
He just wanted to see if you had commitment issues.
I did drop him the next day. But that's my interest in date
What
story.
happened to this guy? Now I want to know.
I have no idea what happened to him. I mean, that doesn't seem wise. I mean, it seemed wise to me. I was 17 years old. Let's go fight demons.
No.
No. Okay.
You know. Like, I just like that. At first, you didn't want to get out because it was 10 o'clock at night in the graveyard, and you're good.
Well, because I thought, maybe he would physically, kiss me, rape me. I don't know. But this is a demon. I can handle a demon.
I literally was I'm like, no, the first one made sense to me. It was the second thing of just like, because either A, there's only two possibilities. There is a real demon, or he in his head, which could be worse than a real demon.
Yeah.
Oh.
I should look him up on Facebook or see if
Yeah,
I
I want to see what happened to him.
His first name was James.
Well, that's
I
why.
do remember that. Yeah, I do. Actually, I don't remember his last name, but I should look him up and see. I'm not going to say it here, but I just remembered his second name.
Yes.
So I could look him
We
up.
will follow up and let you know where he ended up in life.
We did have another episode where this one actually involved her. We were down in Phoenix. We were visiting my mom. Now, we'd taken my husband's truck because we'd taken something down there, and we couldn't all fit. So my younger one had gone with my husband. We had the car, and we were visiting my mom and my nephews down there. We were on the way back. This one started acting. She was driving. It was her car, so it was me and her in
this
one.
when I had the Camaro?
Yeah, so it was her and me in one car, and my husband and my daughter, the other daughter in front.
This was actually scary as shit.
She started acting weird in the car. She started kind of almost dazing out. And I felt something in the back seat, something dark in the back seat. So I said to her, I said, we're coming up the mountain. And I said, where are you going? She says, we're going to go to the lake. I said, why are we going to the lake? And it didn't sound like her. And I'm not talking a weird voice or anything. It just was very non-emotional. And I said, why are we going to the lake? Because we have to go to the lake. I said, no, we need to go home. No, we're going to the lake. I said, no, I think we need to go home. So finally I said, Amber, pull over. I need to drive. So it took her a while. She finally pulled over. I drove home. We get back to the house. Now she's normal. She goes in her bedroom, and she told me, she said she felt something in her bedroom. I don't know if you remember it.
No. It was like, have you ever, when you're really, really tired and you like travel and you remember getting places, you remember doing things, but that's how I remember feeling. And yeah, I remember going in my bedroom and this one still scares me to this day because I can't explain it. I do. I remember talking to you. I remember saying we're going to the lake, but I just remember feeling very tired and I had this feeling like I have to go to the lake kind of thing. And I remember being really pissed off. And I get angry, I get mad, but I don't get it was a feeling I've never felt ever in my life. And it was just, I was super fucking angry. It was just like, and you need to shut up. You need to stop talking because we've got to go to the lake. It was just I was angry. I was really mad. I was super, super tired. And
like I said, she was angry, yet she had no infliction in her voice. There was it was a coldness.
Yeah, I wasn't yelling. I wasn't.
It was
anything.
a cold.
I was really.
You get chills
aggravated.
even talking about it.
Yeah, I was really, really aggravated, and nothing happened that day.
Nope, we'd had a really good visit.
Yeah. And no, I don't remember when we got home. I don't remember
I do.
I don't remember.
So we got home, and the way the bedroom was set, our bedroom used to be down. We have a tri-level house, and ours was bottom floor. My daughter's front, her sister's back. So we go in her bedroom, and she said she felt something. Now I felt something really bad in there, and so I was in a ceramics class once, and I made crucifixes for both their bedrooms. Now, I will say we're not super religious. We never have been. We're what you would consider spiritual. So I told her, I said, well, go take a shower. So she went to take a shower. While she was in there, I said every prayer under the sun, walked around her room with this cross, told this entity that I need to get the hell out of there. It wasn't welcome in there. Mama Bear came at me because it scared me. It really did scare me, but at the same time, I was going to face this thing down. I finally felt like it left. It left the room. And so then she comes in and she goes to bed. She's out of the shower. She goes to bed. Next morning, now keep in mind, my husband and my daughter had gotten home before us. By the time we'd gotten home, because she'd tried to go to the lake, I'd have to have pull over, this whole bit. By the time we got home, my youngest was already in bed. Next morning, we all get up, and my youngest says, I had a really bad dream last night. I dreamt that there was something in my room.
Oh, God.
So whatever it was, I'd sent it from my oldest daughter's room to my youngest rooms. But she just slept through it, so.
Sounds like Brandy.
Yeah. But that was one of those episodes that was really scary.
I do. I remember the whole thing. I remember it just came on really quickly. I remember talking to you. I remember wanting to go to the lake. I remember, but it was just, and we live in Arizona. What lake were we going to? I mean, we have lakes around here in Prescott, but I remember thinking it wasn't any of the lakes like here in Prescott. I remember thinking like it was going to take us a little while to drive there.
And I was convinced if I let her take me to the lake, I was going to die. I was convinced she was going to kill me that night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something, like I said, it was something dark that got, and we're not sure why. Because like I said, we were down. I am somewhat convinced that one of the nephews was involved with gangs. I don't know if that's where the dark energy came from, but it was either at my mom's, but when we left, we were fine. It was like halfway up.
We drove for like 30, 40 minutes before.
And like I said, I remember looking in the rearview mirror and seeing like this darkness in the back seat. And
yeah, so it's a weird thing. I can remember it all. I just don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah.
I know I had another incident. We didn't want to go serious, and we're going serious here. But there's another incident. I was working, and I was as a therapist, and there was this young lady that I saw all the time. And we got talking about spirits because I'll talk about anything with people in therapy. And she was telling me how she was driving down the road and this thing jumped in front of her car, this black thing. And I said to her, she was a good artist. I said, can you draw it? And we had whiteboards in the room. And so she drew this thing up on the wall. And I took a picture of it because it freaked me the hell out. Ooh. And I said to her at that point, I said, we need to get out of this room now. And I had hurt my back that day. I could barely move. I didn't want to leave. We went out. We finished talking in the parking lot. And so what I did was I erased the thing off the board. But I told another friend who is very spiritual, I said, do me a favor. I said, go in counseling room A and tell me what you think. Now, I'd erased off the board. She went in there, and there was nothing to prove, and I didn't say any more than that. She went in there, and she came out, and she goes, we need to cleanse that room. There is something evil in that room.
Oh, so just based off the girl drawing that?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And I kept it on my phone for the longest time, and I think I finally got rid of it. It was such a weird drawing. I mean.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm.
But like I said, there was nothing the second counselor didn't know. I just said, go in there and tell me what you feel. You know, I did think that's what I said to her. I said, go into that room and tell me if you feel anything. And she went in there, she came straight up, and she goes, I don't know what we need to. So she used sage. We had another friend use holy water, who's a strict Catholic.
I'd be like, give me every religion thing you got. Yeah. I will use it. I'd be praying to everything.
We've had some interest in, not that I'm afraid of spirits. I think most spirits are very friendly.
See, I'm terrified of them. I'm terrified.
I served my grandfather when I was younger. I was laying on the couch. I was about 12, 14. And I remember waking up, my grandmother was staying with us, so she was in my room. So I remember looking over, and my dog was growling at the couch. And I thought, that's weird. Why my dog growling at me? And I remember kind of looking up and seeing this man stand at the end of the couch. And he looked like he had a camera taking a picture of me. And I thought, well, that's really strange. Next morning, I'm talking to my grandma. Next morning, I'm talking to my grandma. Now, my grandfather died when I was 3. And the way they always talked about him being a small man. And I said, hey, camera. And my grandma goes, oh, that was your grandfather. He loved to take pictures. What? So I am convinced that was my grandfather. Didn't bother me.
Oh, man.
And it's funny because recently I've started doing 8mm film into home videos, and I've actually got to see what my grandfather looked like for the first time in my life.
Does it look like the guy?
Yes.
Oh.
I'd never seen what he looked like. We had no pictures.
Dang.
So, I mean.
Well, let us know if you've got any stories. We should probably wrap this up, but.
We probably should.
Comment down below. Tell us if you've got any interesting stories. I'd love to hear it. That would be really, really interesting.
I think we've gone through about 4 or 5 cups of tea, so it's that time.
We are going to be energized.
Again, hit the like, hit the follow, whatever those buttons, all those buttons you do.
Like, subscribe, comment down below.
And we will see you next Tuesday. Remember, publish these every Tuesday at 8 a.m.